All right, welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Pretty Good Movie Podcast. I'm Josh.
I am Ben, as per usual, and this is television. We are recording the top 17 albums of 2010.
The top 10 albums of 2017.
Here in our Pretty Good studio, we've got
we've
some
kicked it off.
We've got some La La Land here.
Yep.
We've got a giant glowing banana. It's a banana.
It's a banana.
It's not a penis.
It doesn't look like a dick.
It doesn't look like a dick at all.
I don't think it looks
it
like a
doesn't
dick.
look like a penis at all.
It's not.
It's not a penis.
It's not a dick.
It does look like a dick, though. Doesn't it? It's list season.
It is list
season.
season.
List season.
I love list season.
So we're going to list off our favourite albums of the year.
Yes.
But also first, we're going to do some honourable mentions.
We certainly are.
This is also all available on the podcast. It'll be basically an unedited version of this.
It
We're
will
this is
100% be that.
Heavily cut because we need it. So we're going to do 10 of each.
My 10, your 10. It'll be the same as what the films were last year,
Yeah.
if you were there for that. And now we're on camera.
I love
So
music.
when we fuck
good's
up,
music.
people see it.
Yeah, I know. Look at my mug.
All right, my first honourable mention is Walk the Moon.
Oh, wonderful.
Walk the Moon's album, What If? Nothing. Next one that I have on vinyl is Goldfinger's The Knife. Return to
wow.
form
Wow.
and music even.
Wow, look at that.
They're back, baby. You want to see it? There you
Yeah,
go.
that's nice.
They're both colour variants, but I'm lazy, so we're staying in there.
Yeah.
The other honourable mentions are Nothing But Thieves and their album, what's it called, Ben? Broken Machine. Wolf Alice, Visions of a Life.
Ooh.
And Stand Atlantic with their debut EP.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, Wolf Alice is on my honourable mentions as well.
There you go.
Yeah, the same album, Visions of Life. I
Yeah,
loved
no,
it.
a different album.
I also got Robert Finley's one.
Yes, that was on mine, but I brushed it.
Bastard. Mac DeMarco's This Old Dog. Wonderful. Spoon, Hot Thoughts.
No thanks.
Fuck you. Good album again, didn't make it. And finally, Cigarettes After Sex.
No, I'd rather not. Newfound Glory makes me sick.
Wow. I'm nauseous already.
You could have guessed that if you know who I am. Because
I don't.
Newfound Glory, one of my favourite bands. They're probably my favourite pop punk band. Yeah, I really dig this one. It's not their best album.
No.
I don't think. Well, it's number 10 and not number 1, isn't it?
No, but still.
But still, it's a very solid release. They've been around since... I think... Actually, I know, because I went. This is their 20th year as a band. Because I went to their 20-year anniversary tour in Sydney. And have a shirt, which I was going to wear, but I wore Elvis instead. Anyway, back to the album. Really solid pop punk. Check out Happy Being Miserable and Party on Apocalypse, which are for 2 singles. And for something a little bit different, the island theme of the sound of 2 voices. I don't know why I'm saying things like
Island
that. The
theme.
island theme. Yeah, it's a really interesting take, that song especially, because they do something that they've never really done before. It's not just the general pop punk stuff. There's the whole, like, sort of under the sea, Little Mermaid vibe to it. Newfound Glory makes me sick. Number 10.
Beck Colours. Oh, wow. Isn't this a funny one? This is a weird one for me.
Is it?
Yeah, it's a really weird one because it's shit. Like, it's pop shit, but it's Beck pop shit.
We have talked about this, yeah.
But he knows it's shit. So it's like self-referential. It's really interesting. But I do actually like the music as well. Like, it's not just because it's like satire or whatever. Because he's been around for ages. So long. He looks.
Yeah.
I think it's important to note that he does look like a 40-year-old teenager.
Okay,
Look
yeah,
at his
yeah.
head. Basically, like, it's got a whole bunch of layers, and I love that stuff. It's like, it's pumping party music, but it's, I don't know, like, something's cool about it. It's got instruments from, like, you know, bassy drums all the way to auto-tuned panpipes, you know, like, it's just really weird. But then it's got, like, Beck's classic type of singing over the top. You want to know what we're talking about? Here it is for 1 second, because we can't afford any copyright.
It's the Killers.
Oh, I was going to listen to that and I forgot.
You twits! It's the Killers. It's wonderful, wonderful.
Oh, is it? Is that your review or the name of the album?
That's just the name of the album. It's alright. People were let down by this, from what I've heard, in a sense. I think it is probably their best album since Sam's Town. It's certainly something new for them. It's not quite that hot fuss, hard, alternative rock kind of thing. It sounds like a concept album, but none of the songs are linked, from what I can tell. But they all have a similar vibe to it, except the lead single, The Man.
Yeah. Yeah.
right? Which you've heard a lot.
Very good.
Very popular. It's actually one of my favorite songs, one of my top 3 favorite songs on this, which is kind of like a pop rock tune. The Man is one of the best ones on here. I really like The Calling as well, which is sort of like a Western leaning song that is introed by Woody Harrelson.
Really? Oh, that's right. Yeah.
A well-known atheist who was reading a passage from the Bible.
That's right. And didn't he come out on stage or something?
Yes,
he did it.
Yes,
live?
I think the first time I played it live, it came out on stage. And also, I really, really dig the title track, "Wonderful, Wonderful." It's weird to say that an album's cinematic,
Right.
but I think that's what this is. It's definitely worth checking out. And also, it comes in this really wicked gatefold.
Oh, I love Gatefold.
Gatefolds are good, aren't they? And they're holding shells. And my number 9,
Wonderful.
well deserved. Wonderful,
Wonderful.
wonderful.
Wolfpack?
Oh,
Mr. Finish Line. It's a really interesting album from these guys who specialize in improvised sort of funk. They get a lot of inspiration from the Doobie Brothers. They've always done really interesting stuff it's really like cool and catchy, and they always do like a couple kind of like comedy-ish songs on their album. But none of their albums have really felt like an album yet. And this one is the first one. I think it's the most comprehensive collective whole that they've ever done for a full album. Songs like Birds of a Feather, Mr. Finish Line, I really love. I think that's one of my favorite. It's kind of silly, but it's also cuts to like a breakdown bit with a guy who's commentating football.
oh yeah.
And he's commentating in time with the song. Baby I Don't Know is amazing with the drums. Like the way that they produce all their sounds and their instruments are really, really cool. And all of it is one take. You know, people performing in one collective, you know, just grooving. Love that shit. Number 9, Wolfpack, Mr. Finish Line.
Have a look at this.
Have a look at this. Oh, here we go.
Royal Blood.
Oh boy.
With their sophomore effort.
Now that's one that should have been on my honorable mentions, and it wasn't.
I wasn't. You've brushed them.
Wow,
Ooh.
that's really
Also,
nice.
there's titties. So this is the follow-up to one of my favorite rock albums ever, which was their self-titled debut one from a few years ago, and it was always, you're covering my mouth with it.
Sorry.
It was always going to be difficult for them to follow that up, I think, and a lot of expectations were placed on this album from
Ridiculously high.
me as well as everybody else.
Because that was their first one was such an important album for rock music.
So it's a really hard rocking album, the same as their first one is. And initially, I was kind of mixed on it. You can
My
stop
hand
covering.
is
Just stop covering them. It's fine. I'll just turn it around. Yeah, I don't think it was even going to make my top 10 list until I re-listened to most of my favorite albums that came out this year, and I really liked every song.
Yeah,
and I found it difficult to not include it. And then the more I listened to it, the higher it went. And now here we are at number 8. Yes. Yeah.
That's impressive.
So I think if you have listened to it and you were like, not as good as the first one, go back to it.
I had the same thing happen to me.
And then go back to it maybe 2 more times.
Yeah, and if you like the sound of their first one, I think it's the same.
It's
and
the same.
Consistent across. There's one song on there that sounds exactly like Queens of the Stone Age.
And that is one of my favourite 3 songs on this album. My 3 favourite tracks on this are I Only Lie When I Love You, Hook, Line and Sinker, which is a thrashing rock song,
it's a good one.
Fucking love. And the Queens in the Stone Age, Queens of the Stone Age duplicate track, Hole in Your Heart, which
that's my
has some
favourite.
wicked keys
That's it. Oh, that's
in
my
the
favourite.
intro. How did we get so dark? I didn't even say the title, did I?
Because it's not even on the front.
Yeah, exactly. How did we get so dark? The Royal Blood album.
Ben's number 8, and I'm excited to talk about this one. This is my
yeah?
first favourite album of the year. Electric Guest, plural. Interesting album, this one. This is a duo from the LA, from the Los Angeles States.
From the LA?
From the LA. This album came out in February. I was a big fan of their first album, kind of indie pop-ish sort of thing. They went away for about 4 years. They made this album, and then they looked at it and went, nah, scrap it, do it again. Did the whole album again. Got this. It's much more pop again, which is really weird for me. But there's a song on there called Dear to Me, right? Amazing. No one really was like following this album because they disappeared and then came back, and no one really cared because that first album got them a bit of traction, but not that much.
Yeah.
Came back, and then everyone sort of just went off the radar, right? I went back and checked that song. 2 million views on YouTube. 2.5 million. Little fun fact. Andy Samberg's in that music video for a grand total of 3 seconds.
Is he? Are they mates?
It's a bit of a mashup. It's got a lot of different things happening for it, but it's very much got this sort of electronic drum sounds and so. But like Oh Devil and Dear to Me are 2 of my favorite songs off that album. I used to listen to those religiously, like day in, day out, because they're just so good. He can sing really high, this guy, a singer. I can't remember his name, but wow. It's a fun bop. It's very upbeat, really cool. It doesn't feel too indie.
Oh! Emma Stone!
Quick!
Keep going! I'll fix her.
Yes, no, it's really cool. And here is one of the songs for 1 second because copyright again.
Seaway. Vacation.
Oh, I love the cover for this one.
You have mentioned the cover several times.
I love the cover.
Oh, look, it came out. Look at this.
Oh, look at this.
Oh, look at this, everybody.
It's a nice disc, isn't it?
Oh.
Wow.
Yeah. It's another pop punk one. What can you do? I like pop punk. It took me by surprise, though, because I saw them live, opening for homegrown band With Confidence at their Sydney show. And I thought they were solid. And they played a couple of songs off this new one, and I was like, hey, no, they're good. It's fine, good.
Yeah.
And they dropped it, and I didn't check it out.
Yeah.
I left it for a couple of months. And then I was like, oh, hey, that band I saw with Confidence. Their new album's out. Maybe I'll listen.
Yeah.
It's amazing. I think this is my favorite pop people. My favorite pop punk album. My favorite pop punk album of the year, unless I'm stupid and there's another one higher up. But look, it's nothing new. Pop punk is the same thing. It's the same thing in different ways, over and over again.
It's one of the most consistent music genres that you can find on the planet Earth.
And I'm fine with that if it's done well. Like some pop punk is shit. And that's fine. And some people hate all of it, and I get that.
Because it falls into that generic sort of sameness.
But this is the catchiest and most fun I have had in a pop punk album since I first started listening to it when I was like 8.
Wow,
it's amazing.
That's been ages.
They're Canadian, I think. The whole thing, front to back, is such a good listen. I'm still surprised by it, how much I like it. Like, I'm talking about it now, I'm like, no, this is amazing.
Yeah.
And I don't know why. Their first album's not even good. It's okay.
Yeah.
And then this came out. And I can't understand it, Ben. It's just so good at pop punk. Also, I really like London, Car Seat Magazine, and 40 Over. Get in, Seaway Vacation. Fuck you. This album's so good.
Black Angels, one of my favourite bands of all time now. They've skyrocketed up. Dropped on this year called Death Song. How happy, how wonderful.
Sad.
They are a 1970s sort of psychedelic rock throwback, something very similar to The Doors. A wicked band that is just existing outside of their time, like by 40 years, 30 years. It's crazy how well realised their sound is. The reason why this isn't higher is because it is so consistent with their usual stuff, which I love, but it's like nothing feels that exciting. I already have my favourite album of theirs, which is from like 3 years ago.
Yeah, that's kind of how I feel about Newfound Glory.
All their stuff sounds the same, and if you dig it, you dig it. Like, I really love this stuff. You know, they have like really long 16-minute songs that just like drum beats. They sing about weird shit. They're always like, here we are, looking through the window of the sky. And the singing's really like low with the like really loud raw guitars and drums and amazing female drummer as well. She's awesome. Like there's a song on one of their older albums which is 16 minutes of just a drum beat. It's amazing. The album is very consistent and I love it. But really the one song that really sticks with me is Death Song at the end. Really, really cool. They've got really great guitar riffs and it just sort of builds and builds and builds and builds and builds. And then you're just sort of left with this, time machine album experience where you've just gone into the past.
Yeah.
If you're a fan of that old raw sound, I would definitely recommend checking these guys out. If you don't know what they sound like, here is 1 second.
Oh, for God's sake. It is a friend of yours.
Oh.
It is Dan Urabach.
Dan Airback.
No, it is Dan. You're a. I should have looked up how to pronounce this before we did this video.
I say Arabak.
Urabach? Arabach?
Arabak. It's Bark. It's definitely Bark.
Dan's new album. Dan's new
solo
album.
The Black Keys.
Waiting on a Song. It's interesting as well. And we've talked about this several times because you like Dan and you like the Black Keys. You like everything he does pretty much, right? And I don't like the Black Keys. One of their albums is pretty good.
Yeah.
But I don't like the Black Keys. I don't really listen to anything that he's done prior to this. And you made me check it out because of the amount of studio session musicians that he had from artists that I really like Roy Orbison and Johnny Cash and Elvis Presley. And it's real good, man.
Yeah.
Like, it's real good.
It's really good.
It's so high on the list,
and it's so concise, isn't it?
It is. And it's got that old sort of style to it. So do most things on his record label, Easy Eye Sound, as well. Robert Finley was on that
which
too.
Which is just coming out with.
Yeah,
It's really exciting.
they got that old sort of style. It's an old sort of styled album cover.
Yeah.
as well, and I'm having a really good time with it. And it's
Would you classify it as a concept album?
in a sense, yeah, like an old
Yeah.
timey rock and roll kind of concept
He's
thing.
trying to- yeah.
It's his life. If you listen to the no, but you know what I mean. Like
Yeah.
if you listen to the songs,
Yeah.
it's from what you told me about him as well.
Yeah.
a lot of it seems very personal. It's not just singing songs about nothing.
Yeah, and you can tell he's got a very strong nostalgia for this type of this era of music.
Me too,
and
man.
it's sort of his personal
Actually, got all the
desire.
studio musicians on the. I don't know.
Yeah, that's the easy sound.
I don't know
That's
if
going to be
I don't know.
totally out of focus.
I don't know if that's in shot.
Dickhead.
I don't know how fucking cameras work, man. My top 3, I did write this down, and I don't remember what I wrote
you
down.
do it.
But I'm telling you right now
Yeah.
that it's Stand By My Girl,
Yeah, it's a good one. Isn't it?
Cherry Bomb, and Living in Sin. The whole thing is good. It's definitely worth a listen if you're into older style of music like me,
Yeah.
or if you like anything that he has done, like you, Dan.
The Shins, Heartworms.
Ew.
So, this album from the Shins, they've been around for a while. They have been around for a while. This one took me by surprise because there's one song off it I really liked. I heard on the radio because I was just on and off fan of them. I decided to listen to the whole album, and my God, is it good? My God, is it good?
Oh, you look stressed about
Oh
it.
my God. Like, it really surprised me. I love layers. I love layers in music. You know what I mean? I just love a lot of layers. And, like, they've got flutes and things in this one. But we like the fast upbeat, like, do-do-do-do-do-do. So, Name for You is one of my favorites, which is the first song. Painting a Hole is good too. They're all really good. So Now What was the one I heard on the radio. But, okay, this album has a song at the end, which is possibly one of the most, like, the prettiest things I've ever heard. It is so nice. It's totally different to everything on the album. It's called The Fear. It's just this really slow, couple drums, all these, like, mandolin and, like, up, you know, and strings and things. Oh my God. Like, not a lot of singing. It's sort of kept in the background. I always think it's an instrumental when I start it because
Yeah.
I forget about the singing. Amazing album ending. Sends you to sleep. It's so gorgeous. It's the reason why I bought this. You look at this and think this is like a metal album in some senses.
Yeah.
Like, it's a surprisingly beautiful album for something that is quite upbeat. And
Looks
coming,
like it looks like a 90s Nickelodeon cartoon.
it's coming from a band that has stayed in the indie scene for so long and can be this consistent with their quality. They had a lot of music in How I Met Your Mother.
Right,
So you would have heard a lot of it. That's where I
Man,
found
didn't that show just tank
suck.
in the last season? Didn't it tank?
I get so mad about that. Like, people
Rob,
bring...
how good was it until the last
people-
season? Like, we're hitting it.
You're hitting it?
We're getting...
Top 5's good. isn't
Top
it?
5 is... Do you know how hard it was? I will say this now so I don't have to say it after everyone. Do you know how hard it was for me to order these 5 albums?
Ooh.